and others. Mkwanazi's lawyer, Advocate Peter Wilkins, has argued in court today that the charges levelled against his client do not constitute a Schedule 6 offence. IDEC Head of Investigations and Operations, Matthews Sissoko, has told the Madlanga Commission that he was excluded from the unit's investigation into crime intelligence. Nearly 2 years ago, IDEC launched a probe into allegations that the Political Killings Task Team had been abusing the Secret Service's slush fund. The investigation implicated several high-profile law enforcement officials, but the Commission has heard evidence that the probe was plagued by irregularities. He claims that he was never included in the investigative team that looked into crime intelligence.
I had no direct or substantial involvement with these matters. I was not included in the team and in the ordinary course was excluded. Sometimes Chief Perumal would mention something to me in passing about a case and how good evidence he had obtained. I think there were a number of meetings where I was invited, which I cannot remember details of.
Sissoko says his exclusion from the investigation was odd.
Given the position I hold and the leadership role I ordinarily play, the exclusion was unusual and had not previously occurred in my time at IDEC.
The investigating directorate's chief financial investigator has taken the stand in the trial against former National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. Mapisa-Nqakula is facing corruption and money laundering charges in the Pretoria High Court for allegedly soliciting 4.5 million rand in bribes from a Defence Force contractor. Nombasa Ndlovu claims to have paid Mapisa-Nqakula 2.1 million rand between 2016 and 2019. Khomotso Modise has more.
The Pretoria High Court has shifted its focus to the financial flows and bank accounts of the players in the trial against former National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. The state is called Wynand Wessels, IDEC's chief financial investigator. He's set to testify on the financial flows and the bank accounts of Mapisa-Nqakula, her husband Charles Nqakula, and Nombasa Ndlovu, who claims to have paid kickbacks to the former minister. Wessels will also testify on the bank accounts of the interior designer Nomsa Shabangu and contractor who designed the plan of the former minister's house, Emmanuel Muraudzi. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the Pretoria High Court.
More than 30 people have been arrested during police compliance raids in the Pietermaritzburg CBD. Several shops have also been closed for operating without permits. The raids form part of the KwaZulu-Natal's crackdown on illegal activities. Thabiso Koba reports.
During the compliance raids, there has been at least 2 people found with drugs. Several shops have also been forced to close due to operating without municipal permits. Police have also arrested some shop owners on suspicion of employing undocumented people. KZN spokesperson Robert Nechunda.
We have our labor colleagues who are doing their inspections at different shops, employing people, see if they are following what needs to be followed, the laws of the country. We are still continuing to operate. It will be a whole day operation, and we are happy that police have shown force and the remarks from the community is positive.
The people arrested on suspicion of being undocumented will be handed over to Home Affairs to verify their status in the country. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Pietermaritzburg.
And in Germany, police have arrested a Ukrainian man on suspicion of spying on a Bavarian arms manufacturer. Police say the 33-year-old is believed to have taken a photo of the company in preparation for acts of sabotage. The investigation is being carried out under a new national center to coordinate defenses against hybrid attacks. The center is part of Germany's response to what officials say is a growing threat of sabotage, espionage, and disinformation campaigns. Gold is trading at $4,275.05 an ounce. The rand is at 16.33 to the dollar, 21.97 to the pound, 18.85 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $79.51 a barrel.
At this stage in the Devland area, driving into Eldorado Park, slow-moving traffic on the Golden Highway between the N1 and the N12 due to ongoing roadworks. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in 4 ways at Witkoppen and Cedar, as well as in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeeck.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 23 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN, the state in the murder case of suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkwanazi and 4 others is opposed to their release on bail.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome to 7:02 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, on this Thursday, the 6th of August. Let's get into some interesting conversations for the day. I want to find out from all of you, what is one dream, one purchase, one wish that you have delayed because of family obligations? For that conversation, our consumer feature, Wendy Nola, is joining us to take all of your consumer rights issues. And of course, she's always going to be sharing a story with us. And hopefully we have some follow-ups from previous cases and issues. So do get in touch. 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 Afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Okay, so we all have dreams, right? But life also happens, and life happening can be circumstances beyond ourselves, or life happening can also be us making choices that can also be self-sacrificial. So you might have heard of the people who will say to you, I am the one who started to work early. I really wanted to go to school, but I had to go and work because my siblings, it was better if I worked so my siblings could go to school. Now you find yourself maybe at 35 or 40, you didn't get to do that thing. There is also a view, and I'm very intentionally not using the words black tax. I'm saying family obligation because it can come in so many different forms. It's not even necessarily monetary. It can be something as simple as I left my job, or I turned down a job offer that would have taken me out of town because I was helping to raise my sister's kids. The kind of sacrifice could have been so many other things. But what is that dream that you put on hold? And maybe you're even thinking to yourself that that dream is too late for you. What is that dream? And what is it that you put on hold? Something maybe that you wanted to buy, something you wanted to experience, something that you wanted to enjoy, that you did not out of family obligations. And I use the word obligations loosely And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I would assume that if something is an obligation, you committed to it and now you are doing it. But I'm saying I'm using it loosely because you might have been the one to put up your hand to say, I will. And it happens, guys, where you discover after a relative has passed away that there was not a single policy in place. Not a single policy in place. Then you are the one putting up your hand and you say, you know what? I know I really wanted to go on my first birthday or whatever the case may be. I really wanted to go on my first birthday solo vacation. But I will take the money I've been putting away, this 25,000 Rand, and I will give it to the family for this funeral. Obligations can also look like people volunteering you on your behalf. So let's say one sibling gets a great opportunity, but it means that what you had wanted has to be put on hold. That maybe you don't get the support and help because of the other sibling. So the family obligation is now something that is not necessarily something you signed up for voluntarily. But many dreams get lost along the way. And those of you, I'm going to use 40 and older as the measurement because that's what I have found myself experiencing, is the idea of revisiting all of the dreams that I had before life happened, whatever that can look like. Before life happened, what are those dreams that you had? Before being someone's wife or someone's husband, before being someone's father or mother, before being somebody's legal guardian or caretaker, before being the one who's taking care of your elderly parents, before taking on certain roles, what were your dreams? What were those things that you had to put on hold? And sometimes the dreams are not even dreams that require finances. They just required you to make a life adjustment that now impeded on these obligations. I've heard of people turning down scholarships, fully paid bursaries to be home to take care of certain things. And I think it is the greatest gift you can give oneself to fulfill a dream you've had like pretty much your whole life. And maybe you were watching Bafana Bafana in 2010 on TV and you said, one day I will get a chance to watch my country play at a World Cup. Or one day I will get an opportunity to take my grandmother on the blue train. Or one day I will get an opportunity to bring my mom from Mahayeng to actually see where I work. Not just for her to know I have a job, but for her to see where I work. So the dreams can vary. And some of them have nothing to do with finances. And the obligations can vary because some of these obligations have nothing to do with finances in that context of the kinds of family obligations that we are familiar with. But share with us what those dreams are, what those things you wanted for yourself, those things that were just going to make your heart smile. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about what is one thing you will regret not doing if you die, that you will just regret that you didn't get to do this thing. It could be that thing that now life made you put it on hold. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Your voice. voice.
Your life
Your afternoon radio.
on 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
Let us take your calls and go through your messages. You can hit us up on Facebook, on X. You can also stream on YouTube if you want to see us live in studio and share with us what your feelings and thoughts are around those dreams that have been delayed. And some dreams do have an expiry date. Let's say your dream was to become a pro soccer player. Some dreams have an expiry date, however. So let's say now you're like, hey, I'm much older. It can still be a dream that is, can I say, a deviated version, a 2.0 version, where maybe fulfilling your dream is getting an opportunity to just wear a jersey and meet a team or meet your sporting hero. So there are some dreams that have an expiry date. Maybe you've been wanting to do things to youth, but now you're 42 and you no longer qualify for youth opportunities. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. Jabulani Mguli says a car delayed. Buying a car because had to financially support my family. Kunedi says, I don't put other people's happiness before mine anymore. Yes to you. I yes you. Floris in Cape Town. How are you doing, Floris?
I'm doing good, Relebogile. Good talking to you, man. How are you doing?
I am doing so well. Tell me about your dream.
Yes, Relebogile, I met my beautiful wife, and I can safely say we are happily married for 35 years. But when I met her, she already had 2 kids, and my own desire to have my own child, I had to put it on hold. So I helped her raise the kids, put them through school, put them to college. And by the time I realized I want a child, it was too late for us. So, yeah, that's my sacrifice that I made for love, the sacrifices we made for love. But the kids are looking back to me today, and they are really happy that for what I've put them first ahead of me. So, yeah, that's my sacrifice.
Oh, my goodness. I never even considered the one that you are sharing. Having your own kids to help raise kids that are not yours. But I would go as far as saying, I think you love the kids like they are yours.
Yes, absolutely. There is no doubt. There's no doubt, really. But yeah, like I said, the things we do for love. And like I said, I'm so happily married and in love with my wife after 35 years marriage.
So if you were able to have a do-over, looking back, do you think you still would have been able to build the capacity to have your own child while raising your wife's child?
That is a tough question, really, Bugile. I would not know because I was so focused on raising these 2 kids like my own that slowly the dream faded. But there is sometimes that you are longing for someone that can keep your legacy going and all that.
And Floris, I really hope and pray that the kids see you as a father and not just a father figure. And I hope they bring you lots of grandbabies.
I'm already a great granddad.
A great granddad. Floris,
absolutely.
You are so blessed. Oh my goodness. Are you loving it?
I'm loving it because I'm still young. I can still run with them and all that. There's not many people can say that they seeing their great grandkids. But yeah, like I said, the sacrifice that I made paid off.
And can I just add, Floris, DNA and the biological part, as we have gotten older, we know more and more. It almost means nothing. And I say almost means nothing because there are many children who have no relationship with their biological parents. And then you get people like Floris who chose those children without needing the DNA to match and said, you are mine and I will love you as mine.
Absolutely, Relebogile. Yeah, no, I would just like to share the story with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Floris in Cape Town. Oh, the reason I'm smiling so much is there is no regret in his voice. There is not even a drop of I would do it differently. Isn't that like the ultimate goal? That you can say, let me sacrifice, or I can sacrifice, and it still works in my favor, and I am happy about it. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. Hi, Relebogile. I always dreamed of running the Comrades Marathon, but I put it off until my kids were older because the training commitments would have taken me away for hours at a time. Last year, I ran my first one and my second one this year. I am 53, never too old. Paula, well done to you, Paula. I absolutely love that. Paula, well done to you. Your label, you just gave me goosebumps. It's like you're talking about me. I've let go of many opportunities, including relocating to the Western Cape, so I can look after my nephews who were abandoned by their mother, who is my sister. Shoo. Whew. I'm going to say this to the person who sent that message. You are blessing those kids with a parent that has chosen to step up in the absence of the parent that was supposed to do it, and you did it. My hope and my prayer for you is that you still get to fulfill those dreams and opportunities. It is a massive sacrifice that you have made, but I'm pretty sure it is a worthy one. Hi, Relebogile, please keep me anonymous. I'm 46 years old and pursuing my undergrad degree. My black taxes are paid in full. I'm finally doing things for me and only me, no one else. I would love to find out from the person who sent through that WhatsApp. I would love to find out what it was that got you to that point, because there are many people who cannot break out of the cycle of taking care of other people to take care of themselves. Afternoon, I moved provinces after being widowed and losing my job in the same month. Moved provinces after being widowed and losing my job in the same month. With my pension, I bought a house with the intention should family have no roof, there's something still today. After all years of helping them, no thanks, just use and abuse and cursed at. I am terribly, terribly sorry to the person who sent that message. I think it's your time now. It's your time. Guys, you do know when you cut people off, they can't abuse you. Like, unless we're talking protection order level kind of things, but cutting people off will cut off a lot of problems. High level. The wife is selfish. She wanted him to raise another man's children, but could not give him a child. So insensitive. This is in reference to the caller earlier. I mean, we don't know the dynamics. For all you know, because it didn't seem like it was communicated that way, but for all we know, it was a choice that he took. So I don't know those dynamics, but I can see how it would look like that. Peter on Facebook says, in short, it's black tax, guys. Obviously, we've delayed building and purchasing our first houses to take care of our families. Your voice notes are coming through on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile. I hope you're well. Mina, I had to defer my studies, simply because I stepped into the role of deputy parenting, caring for both my sister and my nephew during the challenging period. Their well-being became my first priority, and of course, I willingly put my own academic aspiration on hold. But this year, at the age of 36, I made a decision to return to university. I'm now the first year student pursuing 2 degrees, at 2 different institutions. So yeah, it's not too late. It's doable and it's possible. Elia in Pretoria.
Hi, Relebogile. Yeah, with me, I had to drop out of varsity, and my dream of being an accountant was like, was like a dream that never happened because my sister, who was sponsoring my studies then, told me, like, girl, I'm getting married, I'm starting a new family. You have to sort yourself out. You better get a job and finance your studies. I couldn't believe it. But I had to drop out of varsity on my second year. And then I looked for a job. I'm still doing that job 20 years later. And I'm not an accountant.
Yo.
Yeah, some dreams maybe they are not meant to be, Great show. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Can I just say, you've been at your job for 20 years. Please know there are people who turned 40 something and decided to go back to school. There are online ways that you can learn. You can still be an accountant. I hope you know that. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be cheap. And I'm not saying it's going to come without sacrifice. But if it is a dream you still have, it is very much possible. One message says, it's a sandwich generation, parents and grandparents above us and children below us indeed. Another voice note.
Good afternoon, Relebogile. Fortunately for me, I never had to suspend any dream or forego anything that I want to do because everything was about me as I was raised as a single child by my mother, even though I do have siblings from my father's side. But now, from observation with relatives and distant family, I wouldn't advise anyone to drop their dreams for anyone, including family, because you are going to do all of that, suspend all your dreams because of your family, but at the end, no one is going to thank you. It will come out at the end. It will be a matter of you wanted to show off. So don't ever suspend your dreams for anything.
Is it like that, folks? I had no idea it was like that. That there's no thank you at the end. Was it like that? No, for reals. Yo, let me read a message here. Simpiwe, we're going to definitely go to you after the news. Sawubona Relebogile, I put my employment on hold during the peak of COVID in 2021 when my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. Our lives turned upside down after her diagnosis. She had a full mastectomy and started chemo, and everything was happening so quickly during the uncertain and frightening time of COVID. I then decided to quit my job to nurse her, as I couldn't imagine her being looked after by someone who didn't understand her the way I do. I thought taking a year off to nurse her wouldn't be detrimental to my employability. After a year, she made great progress and I was ready to go back to the world of work. Boy, was it a rude awakening. I ended up being unemployed for a whopping 4 years and eventually found employment in 2024, even though it is not permanent employment. I have no regrets as my mom is alive and pressing forward. What a gift it was to reciprocate the love she poured into me when I was a child and nurse her during a very tumultuous and challenging time. The lesson I learned: as we grow up, we become parents to our parents and they become our children and they value and appreciate our love and support. Wonderful show. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm so glad that your mom is doing well. May there be no cancers coming back, and may you get that dream employment that you've been praying for. What a beautiful, beautiful gift you gave to your mother. Simpiwe, I see you. I see your messages. It's 1:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. While the state in the murder case of suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and 4 others is opposed to their release on bail, The five are making their first appearance in the Brakpan Magistrates Court in connection with the murder of a businessman in 2022. Emmanuel Mpense, who was implicated in a robbery, was allegedly tortured to death and his body dumped in a dam by the officers. The investigating directorate's chief financial investigator has taken the stand in the trial against former National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. Mapisa-Nqakula is facing corruption and money laundering charges in the Pretoria High Court for allegedly soliciting 4.5 million rand in bribes from a defence contractor. And South Africa has officially taken over the chairpersonship of the SADC Standing Committee of Senior Officials. The meeting forms part of preparations for the SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government. Speaking at the opening of the committee meeting in Durban, Ambassador Tebogo Siukolo outlined the region's priorities amid growing global uncertainty. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at the moment in Germiston, heading towards Boksburg, there's roadworks causing heavy delays. N17 eastbound between Wits Rifles and Osborne. Otherwise, the rest of 702 land looking pretty good. No serious accidents have been reported on our highways. However, look out for those faulty traffic lights in four ways at Witkoppen and Cedar. Traffic lights still not working in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeck. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9. President Gianni Infantino fighting on following an emergency meeting with his top leadership in Rabat, Morocco. Kevin McCullum, I thought you might have a bit of a laugh about that. You are used to cliches about football, but generally they're about on-field play, not off.
Yeah, the problem with FIFA is that it's usually about off-field play as well. It's been like that since the days of João Havelange and through Sepp Blatter. We thought we had a new FIFA and we've basically got Sepp Blatter light.
This is not a guy who's going to go away without a fight, and clearly he's got a lot of world football behind him.
My worry is that he's basically saying this money's going to go to the poorer continents, particularly those in Africa.
CAF has been silent largely on this.
Motsepe was strident in the support before the World Cup, saying that in Africa you don't stab a friend in the back. Motsepe needs to be very wary of his steps here because he could find himself walking in a quagmire of corruption.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
The CSIR International Convention Center has over 40 years of experience in hosting international, local, and national business events. This purpose-built venue is set on a tranquil campus in Pretoria East, in the knowledge hub and science diplomacy capital, the city of Tshwane. Host your next business event at a venue where innovation meets experience. Visit csiricc.co.za for more information. The CSIR International Convention Center, where smart minds meet.
The course is ready. The players are set. Watch as they step up to the tee and go for glory. From booming drives to crucial putts, birdies, eagles, and hole-in-ones, every shot could change the game. The tension is rising with every swing as the world's best battle it out. Explore an exciting selection of golf offerings with Hollywood bets and back your favorites on the fairway. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Unleash your extraordinary with the ultimate content powerhouse. Unfold the all-new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 256 gig and get a free 1,500 Rand in-store accessory voucher. For just 1,549 Rand per month over 36 months on a 4 gig Red Core plan. Plus, add 149 Rand extra per month and get the new Galaxy Watch 9 eSIM. Pre-order now. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
702 sat down with a Liberty expert to unpack how you can plan for your life and legacy.
It's those big life moments that we all aim to go through. Sometimes they happen to us. Getting married, Suddenly, your life changes. You suddenly got to incorporate a partner into your world. You're sharing finances. Possibly you have children. That creates its own financial responsibilities, dependencies that you need to then look at and consider. And all these big moments necessitate almost a review of exactly where you are and where you want to be. Now, think about having children and providing a school education to them. That might be your number one priority. But what happens if something happens to you and you can't provide that income that pays for those school fees? But if that's your number one priority, that's what you need to plan for and protect against.
That was Liberty Life and Legacy Protection Conversations on the Clement Manyathela Show, creating space for the conversations we should be having on 702.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
23 minutes to 2 o'clock, and we're talking about all the things that you, your dreams that you sacrificed or parked or delayed, the things you wanted to buy out of family obligations. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. Simpiwe from Josie. Hi, Simpiwe. Ile kae? Giteng.
Why I see today is like you are talking to me indirect. I'm so heartbroken. Ne? Okay, this is what my mom passed away. May her soul rest in peace. Okay, now the obligation now we are faced. Unebana, basisuwa high ababerekani. They must fit the bill for a sister. You know, it hurts me. I've worked so hard. I've saved. I've bought myself a land debt in KZN, whereby now I'm starting to build and do something. Now I must put everything on hold because of this funeral. Last week, we pledged. I'm not saying that it's wrong to do so. We pledged for somebody to go and visit her at the hospital. Now she passed away. Now we have this coming weekend. My younger sister, I even said to her, we had a conversation last night. I said, listen, I'm not attending this funeral. For some reason, I need to be in KZN at my home. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a certain amount, go and attend that funeral. But it has taken me out of my budget. At the end of the day, here's a funny part. We are family when there's something comes up on black people. Other than that, people are on mute. It breaks my heart to say you're going to put your burden to somebody else's children because you and those children, you a mother and a sister with their mom. It's very painful. Very, very. People, they need to do planning for their death ahead before of time. You know, I will agree with that. One previous caller said we must never put, but then, you know, at the end of the day, you've got that heart, that soft spot to say, I have to help. But at the end of the day, you have wasted your time, all the money that I've saved. Now I must take it and use it for something which I didn't never even plan for it.
Is it possible, Simpiwe, to say, hey guys, I don't have it or I can't?
It's highly impossible because of why my younger sister, she's the one now who say, ineli mamkhulu waka, how how she did for mama. She even went as far to attend mama's funeral. But I said, yeah, I understand that, ne? But now just because you want the name of Majola to appear there in front, so my plans now it must put on hold. That's the whole thing. Because if you get Lohan, at the end of the day, Pato Dula Barry, Banaba Mangmangi, Abadi Alisil, it's a family after the funeral,
But you know what you can do, Simpiwe? You can also just give within reason. So let's say if you say to yourself, okay, this is the contribution I can make. Why must it be all or nothing? And who cares what they say?
Yeah, true.
Because iko imela wena Simpiwe.
It does. It's like right now, I'm so emotionally. I want to reach out. I want to do my things, but at the end of the day, I'm left with no choice. Because if I don't, I'm gonna, like me and my younger sister, last born, 3 guys. I will feel as if I've let her down in such an extent that a ke a ntse highly pudinyana but knowing gore o gona butu wa bereka and go tlhokaetse mamkhulu mo a le a dira sepe. I don't want those kind of topic, but I've got no option to do it. I have to do it as slave. It's a very sensitive topic what you are talking about, but at the end of the day, some families, they leave us with their burdens at the end of the day. And
So-
the sad part, they don't talk, these people, while the life is good. Only when the time are hard, that is when now they look, oh, more labanaba mas mangma ba bereka who saw. Let's try and say, this is what happened to them. Let's see what, this is what mama bona. You know, Rishwela, that name, is your sister that passed away. My mom was the elder, she was the younger. So obvious, but you see.
Sure. Yo, Simpiwe, I really, really hope you are able to figure this all out. That is, yeah, very, very hectic, and it is sensitive because, again, the duties and the feelings where it will feel like you have no choice. Jackie in Reiche Park. Hi, Jackie.
Hello, Rabafila. How are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
All right, my dear. I would just like to share an interesting story. I don't know if you can remember in 2024 when the Olympic team, South African Olympic team, returned to South Africa. There was a lady that gave Tatiana Smith a 100 Rand note gift. I don't know if you are aware of it. But the story went viral. Okay. I was the lady that gave her the 100 Rand note. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so you can just Google it. I'm sure you'll find it. IOL was the people that recorded the video. Anyway, the story is, I am 60 years old now. It was always my dream to become a famous tennis player and to be able to represent South Africa in the Olympic team. But because of apartheid, we never had the opportunity to participate and to represent our country internationally. So I thought on that specific day, man, I want to go and see and experience what is this Mandela magic they're talking about when Olympic teams and players come back to South Africa after winning gold. I know I'll never have the opportunity to come back as a winner, as a proud winner of South Africa, although it was always my dream to do that. So I went to the airport and coincidentally this thing just happened, you know. I don't know. Where did it come from? Where did I get the inspiration from? At the airport. But it happened so that I gave Tatiana Smith a 100 Rand note as a gift for a gold medal in the Olympics. And then somehow this reporter from IOL recorded this whole interaction between myself and Tatiana. And the video went viral. There was over 2.5 million people that viewed the video.
And I think, Jackie, you must be so, so proud of yourself that everybody is even talking about that. Thank you so much for sharing your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
I really hope you're good. Great show as always. You know, so at some point I suspended my dream of learning to read, to understand. I still struggle with reading at my age. 30, just recently turned 38 on the 1st of August. So I'm not giving up on that. I'm actually telling my brother, my younger brother, that I'm trying, but it's hard. I don't know. It's really hard, but I'm not giving up. And yeah, one of those neurodiverse. So that's just my thing, but I'm not giving up. Thank you, really great show always.
Hi, Relebogile. Great, amazing show, and this is a topic that is definitely worth speaking to. My experience is quite the opposite. I am one of the people who I consider myself to be, to have been taken care of by my older sibling. We lost our dad when I was 17, so I was just on the verge of joining university. And my elder brother literally just took me under his wing. And my mom wasn't employed, so he ensured that my tuition at university was sorted out, and he looked after my well-being, and it was very selfless of him. No expectation of it's like a debt to be repaid, and I am forever grateful. He and I have an amazing relationship, and I would do anything for him or his family.
Hello, Relebogile. I've now retired. I'm a pensioner. I've always, not always, for a long time, I wanted to get into private nursing practice. I'm a professional nurse, and I bought almost all the equipment, but have never been able to do what I wanted. I still want to do it. Probably now I can afford only 2 or 3 days a week, no longer a full week, because I'm quite grown up and struggling with arthritis as well. Maybe procrastination, I don't know.
Ausi Lebogile family ga ena tanki. Ba tsa go botsa gore o ne o romilwe mang.
Your family ga ena tanki. That is rough. Afternoon, Relebogile. I have a boy, 28, stepson, 20, girl, 10, and adopted at 3 years old, who's now 5. Funny, she looks like me. I'm 51 years old and want to run the Comrades Marathon. I still want to wear a graduation gown. Guys, it really is not impossible. Wasn't there like an 85-year-old who graduated like a year or so ago? These things are so possible. When I realized that irrespective of how much I try and help, it was never appreciated. I would sacrifice things for me to help. It was never reciprocated. If I couldn't, they wouldn't talk to me. I opted for the latter in the end. Hi, Relebogile. I make sure that I thank my older siblings every chance I get because of the sacrifices that they made for us younger siblings. When I started working, I also helped wherever I can for others. I'd like to think that I've done my black tax part and now trying to enjoy my life the best way I know how. Thank you so much for all your messages. I know this can be an extremely sensitive subject when it comes to delaying your own dreams for you to tend to family obligations. But you have one life. You have one life. So whatever it is that you choose, do it without regrets.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
How long did you take a break from music? Was it 10 years?
Yeah. Worst mistake of my life. But anyway, you learn, you live.
Why do you think it was a worst mistake?
This industry is not an industry for you to take a break. You must not disappear. So,
were you intentional about the break, though, in the beginning? What was behind the reason to take a break? If you can talk about it.
I got dumped and I was heartbroken.
Was it that tough?
I think it was just a whole series of other things as well. It's like you try, you do demos, you try and whatever. Once you get your big break, you've been waiting for this and anticipating it. I did not. It was just happening and I felt like I'm just going to crash into a wall.
Award-winning artist Zamachobe.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Don't worry, bro. That noise just means the engine is purring. Like a lion.
That's not a purr, man. Your clutch is slipping. Pull into Goldwagen right now.
Goldwagen? For Nissan?
Yes. They supply precision-engineered Schaeffler clutches, wheel bearings and timing kits for Ford, Hyundai, Nissan and more.
Wow. What about Toyotas and Suzukis?
Goldwagen has quality vehicle parts for every brand.
Okay, I'm going.
Goldwagen. Keep on driving.
Running an NPO is challenging. But proving your credibility to donors doesn't have to be. Izinga Assist, South Africa's leading NPO verification platform, follows a rigorous process in awarding your organization with a trusted 5-star rating and official digital certification. Get verified and become visible to thousands of donors by joining Izinga Assist today at izassist.org. Doing good, done better. Proudly supported by Primedia Cares.
Uncertainty is rising, but your business still has to deliver. Production targets need to be met. And when your workforce is out of balance, the cost is immediate. Too many employees, costs climb. Too few, productivity drops. Workforce Staffing helps businesses stay in control with flexible workforce solutions, deployed within 48 hours nationwide. When demand changes, your workforce can change with it. Visit workforcestaffing.co.za. Stay productive, stay flexible, stay in control.
702.
Belief matters.
Exploring culture, traditions, religion,
and the beliefs that shape our world.
9 minutes to 2 o'clock, and in our Belief Matters feature for today, we're talking about African time. Is it something we need to rethink? Is it really about being late? 011-883-0702 and the WhatsApp line 072-702 and 702. We're joined by Nhlanhla Kunene, traditional culture enthusiast, and also happens to be an actor, a thespian. Nhlanhla, welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Sanbonani.
I am so excited to have this conversation. So we always think African time means when the invite says 1 p.m. for the wedding, we're arriving at 3. As in we plan to be late. And then there's still the being late because we didn't read the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And then what do you think African time really is about?
African time is about the moments. It's about the moments shared, community, family. It's really not about, for me rather, it's not about being late. It's not about the stereotype that people have grew into. African time is about sharing moments. It's about being there, taking these lessons and sharing moments within moments. That's what African time is for me.
So, when I was pondering this and I intentionally wanted to hear fresh and not read any of our prep, was because I had to sit and think, if we took that concept of the lateness out, and I think, what were we like long before, westernization? We were guided by the sun, right? We were guided by seasons. We were guided by so many other things. Even that concept of, like you say, it's about the moments. We were guided by knowing on this day when this is happening, we're going to gather.
Yeah.
When clocks came into the picture, I mean, my 5-year-old says, why are you saying it's bedtime? When outside it looks like that. He could not, understand. So if we are to add that layer into it and what you were saying around the moments, how would you start to unpack it? Because I like what you're saying about the moments, but I also don't want us to ignore the fact that this is a reputation we have earned, and not just in South Africa. We have earned this title.
It's a broad concept, but like you're saying, back in the days we were guided by Umkhati in Zulu, which is the stars in the galaxy.
Yes.
So when our forefathers used to communicate with us, they used to use stars and dreams, and that's how they would relay messages. So that would help shift how Batsumi is it Tswana.
Yes, or Kibatsumi, it can also be Sesotho. It's yes. Sesotho group. I don't know what it is, Kasepedi, but it could very much be the same.
So it would help hunters and gatherers together their praise, So in a broader aspect, African time isn't really about any of those things as outside of that. And then we're bringing it closer to home, Remember Africa. And we were guided by stars in the galaxy. And whenever we wanted to pray to God or mention the God of gods, we'd go up the mountains, pray up until we have rain that comes. So whatever problem you come across, when you go up the mountain and you start praying, you get your responses there.
Yes.
Hence, abafundayo, those that read will tell you about Obonomkhubulwana, the angel of rain. Yes. So there's quite a whole lot of these things that are not really unpacked. And going back to African time, who were we before? How did we live? Where did we lose it? Obviously, colonization, industrialization took over. Yeah, but if we can go back to there, we'll definitely find certain identities back then.
But I don't just think that. I mean, I'm even thinking about the part of African time can also not just be linked to the 24 hours we have in the day, but also timing of how things happen and when they happen. There are seasons for when people get married, and there are certain moments of how people are buried. And for those that maybe have not delved into that part of our history, our people, can you share a little bit of what you know? Because even the part about dreams, people are sleeping on their dreams. See what I did there? Yours are sleeping on your dreams because it is not just the subconscious.
Yeah.
It is so many other things that can guide your timing of, oh, this is still coming. I mean, just now we were speaking about dreams and delaying your dreams for family obligations. But even your dreams will tell you if you should be delaying a dream or not.
Hence, I said it's moments within moments. It's moments shared. And within that moment shared, there's a moment. Speaking of dreams, when we speak of African time and bringing it closer to us, energies and vibrations speak. And if you're asleep, your energy and your vibrations and your subconscious is alert. And if your energy vibration from during the day, watching movies, horror movies, watching snakes, obviously when you dream, you'll dream of those things because your subconscious is still hung up to that. But if your subconscious is clean enough, when you go to bed and you block certain things out and you breathe and you drink water, the energy vibration there starts circulating. That's when we start connecting with dreams because nothing is disturbing us there.
So let me ask this. Knowing what you have shared, I am so curious around what would you like the listeners to take from this conversation in terms of their perception? Because I don't want people walking away thinking that was an odd chat about time, but my boss still wants me at work at 8. So what are we asking people to ponder or rethink?
Live in your moment. African time. Respect work, respect time, respect all of that. But now let's reshape and look back at who we are and where we come from. What is it that is embedded in our DNAs that we today still come with? You know, if at home I was born, my grandfather was an entertainer. My grandmother was a sewer. My father is probably an entertainer, and I find myself in the entertainment industry. It's my time. So I'd like people to take away the fact that be in the moment. African time is your time. With all this, the noise, work, everything, but be in the moment of your time. You're speaking about dreams being delayed. That's your moment. That's your time. Live in it. It's hard. Yes, I feel like I'm making it sound so simple.
Yes.
But in order to reclaim what was initially ours, when God puts out an angel to guide you, they put your dreams and your aspirations, and they put your purpose in life.
Can I even add a layer to westernize for it to align more for everybody listening? Especially if you're like, I can't relate to the gods, but it is about being present because the only time that exists is the now.
It's the now.
Yesterday is gone. The future does not exist. But the now is what exists. Doesn't mean don't plan, don't do your exams, don't study. But it means be present. Kanka, I really hope we can hear more from you in our upcoming Belief Matters feature, because I think it is as good a time as any now for us to reclaim the things that are built into our DNA. And in the next hour of the show, Wendy Nola joins us in our consumer rights feature. Get your issues in early 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. I have to say it. I have to say the time. Am I allowed in Kanka? Oh, give me permission. Can I say the time?
Yes, you
It's
can.
2 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The state in the murder case of suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and 4 others is opposed to their release on bail. The 5 are making their first appearance in the Brakpan Magistrates Court in connection with the murder of a businessman in 2022. Emmanuel Mbenze, who was implicated in a robbery, was allegedly tortured to death and his body dumped in a dam. Details of his death emerged at the Madlanga Commission, where witness D testified about his death, implicating himself and others. Mkhwanazi's lawyer, Advocate Peter Wilkins, has argued in court today that the charges levelled against his client do not constitute a Schedule 6 offence.
From a reading of the charge sheet, it is quite clear that the charges against accused number 5 can never constitute a Schedule 6. On the charge sheet as it stands, and request your worship, after my letter to colleague on behalf of accused number 1, addressed your worship as that your worship should make an order compelling the state to provide us these particulars. The state has not indicated, other than the fact that they claim it's in Schedule 6, why they would oppose bail in this regard.
IDEC Head of Investigations and Operations Matthew Sissoko has told the Madlanga Commission that he was excluded from the unit's investigation into crime intelligence. Nearly 2 years ago, IDEC launched a probe into allegations that the Political Killings Task Team had been abusing the Secret Services slush fund. The investigation implicated several high-profile law enforcement officials, but the Commission has heard evidence that the probe was plagued by irregularities. He claims that he was never included in the investigative team that looked into crime intelligence.
I had no direct or substantial involvement with these matters. I was not included in the team and in the ordinary course was excluded. Sometimes Chief Perumal would mention something to me in passing about a case and how good evidence he had obtained. I think there were a number of meetings where I was invited, which I cannot remember details of.
Sissoko says his exclusion was odd.
Given the position I hold and the leadership role I ordinarily play, the exclusion was unusual and had not previously occurred in my time at IDEC.
At the same time, the investigating directorate's chief financial investigator has taken the stand in the trial against former National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. Mapisa-Nqakula is facing corruption and money laundering charges in the Pretoria High Court for allegedly soliciting 4.5 million rand in bribes from a Defence Force contractor. Nombasa Ndlovu claims to have paid Mapisa-Nqakula 2.1 million rand between 2016 and 2019. Has more.
The Pretoria High Court has shifted its focus to the financial flows and bank accounts of the players in the trial against former National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. The state is called Wynand Wessels, IDEC's chief financial investigator. He's set to testify on the financial flows and the bank accounts of Mapisa-Nqakula, her husband Charles Nqakula, and Nombasa Ndlovu, who claims to have paid kickbacks to the former minister. Wessels will also testify on the bank accounts of the interior designer Nomsa Shabangu and contractor who designed the plan of the former minister's house, Emmanuel Muraudzi. Eyewitness News at the Pretoria High Court.
South Africa has officially taken over the chairpersonship of the SADC Standing Committee of Senior Officials. The meeting forms part of preparations for the SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government. Speaking at the opening of the committee meeting in Durban, Ambassador Tebogo Seukula outlined the region's priorities amid growing global uncertainty. Seukulu says South Africa accepts the responsibility with humility and is committed to advancing the shared aspirations of the region.
Progress achieved during this transition has laid a firm foundation upon which we shall continue to build. South Africa looks forward to working closely with Zimbabwe, Zambia and every member state in advancing our shared regional agenda.
And in Kuwait, authorities have ordered the closure of a local Iranian school. According to AFP, the decision comes after the country came under repeated Iranian attack during the Middle East war. Repeated strikes on power and desalination plants in Kuwait pushed authorities to ask residents to ration electricity last month. Although the specific reasons have not been shared on the closure of the school, similar measures were taken in the UAE at the start of the war. This was against against schools and a hospital that authorities in the UAE deemed to be linked to the Iranian government. Gold is trading at $4,275.08 an ounce. The rand is at 16.34 to the dollar, 21.98 to the pound, 18.83 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $79.49 a barrel.
Centurion expects some delays on the R55 Kwagga Road between the main road and Stephanus Skuman in Germiston. Roadwork still slowing down traffic on the N17 eastbound between Wits Rifles and Osborne.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 23 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the state in the murder case of suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi, as well as 4 others, is opposed to their release on bail.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 702 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. And thank you so much, man. My heart just goes out to all of you sending those messages about what you had to sacrifice. And I'm going to make it a point that we need to have a session about how we're going to go after our dreams, whether we're 50, whether we're 60. I'm going to speak to Pashida, I'm going to speak to the team. Let's get something together, guys. There is no way you're going to say, hey, I can't anymore. No way. Let's make it a thing, because nothing is lost. If you're still here, you still have a purpose, you still have things to do. So let's make sure that we continue that conversation in a positive light. Wendy Nola's with us, as we do on a Thursday, in our consumer rights feature, Nola Knows. So get your consumer rights issues on the line, 011 8830702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702.
Nola Knows.
Nola Knows time on a Thursday. Happy Thursday, Wendy. How are you doing?
And to you, Relebogile, I'm great. Lovely to be with you again.
Welcome back, or should I be saying hello, Wendy? Hello in the German hello.
Yeah, alles gut.
Alles
yeah, very
gut.
fleeting visit to Germany.
Listen.
And it was 37 degrees, so it was very uncomfortable.
And you were in Munich, right?
Just outside Munich, yeah, to witness the crash testing of a South African car and the retesting. We will talk
Yes.
about those results. We should have them in less than a month, and then we'll definitely be chatting about them in this slot.
Does this feel like a bucket list experience that you got to witness that whole thing live, not like a video link?
Well, absolutely. And I have to say, I did witness 2 cars being crash tested at the same facility back in 2018, but that was 8 years ago, and they were frontal tests. So this was the first time I've seen a side impact test. So it was sort of simulating somebody skipping a red robot and T-boning you. And that was very interesting to see, because the car doesn't move, but this huge apparatus that is mimicking being a similar sized car comes hurtling at about 60 k's an hour, and the noise of that, your nervous system takes about 10 minutes
I
to
was
recover.
about to say, did you scream?
Yeah. Didn't scream, but I thought my knees were going to give way. It was louder than I remembered from the 8 years ago. Maybe it was a different kind of noise, and you sort of standing witnessing on a bridge, sort of like a metal mesh bridge above it. So it's very loud, and it's in a huge hangar. So what that would be like real life in the open, if you were just like in the car or a bystander, it must also still be apart from everything else, the sights and everything, and the horror of it. Just the noise itself is a thing. But yeah, more on that and what that whole exercise led to in terms of rating the car for side impact, and overall what it's rating for safety of the passengers inside such a smash. We'll be sharing those 3 to 4 weeks from now.
All right, I'm so looking forward to it because now you've given me something to add to my bucket list. Watch a crash car test, like in real life, because when it happens on the road and you're watching or witnessing, it's a different thing when you know what you're going for. But I can't wait to hear all about it. But let's jump into this conversation for today.
Very different topic indeed. And it relates to Joburg Water and the aging water infrastructure and burst pipes. So I'll go more into this later, but basically, and I've had personal experience of this, you have pipes coming into your property, and then, it reaches the boundary, and then you have pipes that then are underneath your property leading to your house and making sure you can shower and wash your dishes, etc. So if there is a leak on the road side of your property outside of your boundary, then that's for the municipality to pay for. If the leak, however, is happening where you can't see it underneath the ground of your property, then that is for your account. And yeah, if you don't know it's happening, and can you know it's happening if, for one thing, the water bills the water meters are not being read every month, and so you're only getting estimated, and they're normal, and then suddenly you get a whopping bill. I think a lot of our listeners will relate to this scenario. So let's get going with the case studies. Just a bit of before I get there, some context in the numbers. So Joburg Water is now dealing with 4,336 pipe bursts a month. I must say this information, it dates back. It's from Joburg Water, submitted to council, and I think it was April. So it's a few months past, but I think we can still say it's more or less accurate. 4,336 pipe bursts a month. That's up from 2,960 the previous financial year. So that's quite a leap in a year.
That's more than double.
144.
Almost double, sorry, yes.
No. It's about, on average, 144 burst pipes a day, one per municipal ward every day. And as I say, those are Joburg Water's own figures submitted to council in April. Nearly half the water the city buys is never billed for. Non-revenue water closed the 2024-25 year at 44.8%. I'm throwing a lot of numbers out, but just let them sink in. Like the water. Non-revenue water closed the previous financial year at 44.8%, which is 23.8%. 23.8% is physical loss. So that is water leaking out of the ground. In 2007, so almost 10 years ago, that was 29.4%. So the reality is that, like many cities, the network is 80 years old. There are more than 12 kilometers of distribution pipes, and in the last financial year, the city replaced 17 kilometers of them, 17 out of more than 12,000. And as I said, who's paying for that lost water? If it's on your side of the meter, and perhaps under your property, that water loss lands up on your bill. And let's not forget the water tariff went up by another 12.5% from the 1st of July. So we're talking big money out in Bechile.
These are absolutely insane. So if then you've got the city that loses close to half its own water via its own leaks, but a homeowner's
Right.
leak is entirely the homeowner's problem. Like, please help me understand.
Yeah, well, that's exactly the situation. The city's water services bylaws make the owner responsible. So this is a bylaw issue for everything inside the property boundary. And when there's a tenant, as it was in this case study we're about to share, the owner is jointly and severally liable with them. And the meter, at the meter and outside the boundary, that's the city's problem. They must pay for that. But inside, it's yours. There is a leak rebate provision in the bylaws, but it's discretionary. So you can detect the leak, you get your plumber in, fix it, and then you can apply to the city with proof. And the city may, that's a very big word there, may credit a portion of the bill, but they don't have to.
And what is the portion?
let's
So
look
they
at-
could do 1%.
No, it's not. It's not exactly. It's not specified. It's not specified at all. So we're joined now by Helen Grange. She's the person at the center of the case study that we're about to share. She's a journalist. She owns a house in Westdean, in the process of selling it. In fact, the sale has happened. It's just awaiting transfer, and that's a big part of the story. A pipe burst on her side of the boundary in May. Tenant was living there at the time. She got through her insurance, she got a plumber in to fix it on the 26th of May. And within a week or so, the meter reading was back to normal. At the end of June, the city wrote to her confirming that the meter was not faulty. So this wasn't a case of, and I've had experience of this, where actually it wasn't a faulty meter. It was a faulty meter reader at my house in Durban. So they put the wrong number through, and I had to pay
Yes.
32,000 rand. But anyway, I know I sorted it out, but it took a while. I did a lot of forensics, and I found out that a couple of my neighbors had the same issue. The meter reader on that day was not having his best day.
The
But it takes a
lesson
lot to
is
fight, and you've normally
get a journalist as your neighbor to solve the problem for everybody, because you will investigate to the T.
I had a personal skin in the game. But the thing is that you have to pay and then fight, as with a lot of these things. So I paid and then fought.
Like
Because
SARS.
if you don't pay, the departments aren't talking to each other. They just see arrears and they do horrible things to you, and maybe they cut your water off. So I paid it, and then I got a credit. Anyway, so in Helen's case, she's found out about the leak. She's fixed the leak. The plumbers fixed the leak. She got confirmation at the end of June that, yeah, the meter wasn't faulty or good. And then her July account arrived, and it was almost 125,000 rand. So her problem was that she'd sold the house, and you cannot, a transfer will not proceed. The conveyancing attorneys can't finalize the transfer of the property into the new owner's name if there's outstanding utility debt. And this was sort of the problem, and eventually the solution. I will make that clear in the coming minutes. Do we have Helen with us yet?
Yes, we do. Helen, I cannot believe 125,000 rand. Are you a trust fund,
Yes.
baby?
No, I'm not, and that's the problem.
Hi.
I don't know how
Okay.
other people cope with this, but yeah.
So let's hear it in your own words, Helen. What was you've now stuck with this debt, which is almost 125,000. There was another amount of 94 that got quite confusing, but as we've said, the transfer. When did you find out? Because you think it's over, then you get the bill, and then you think, okay, then you hear, well, you can't actually get the proceeds of the house sale. You can't get rid of the house until you pay the bill. I mean, how
Correct,
and
yeah.
when did you discover that, and what sort of impact did it have on you?
I discovered it on the 25th of May when I actually opened the COJ bill, which had been sent 5 days earlier. So I couldn't have known anyway until I opened the bill on my email that I had this underground leak. And that bill came in at 45,000 rand. I mean, you can imagine the shock. Just feel faint when you see something like that.
And you
and
didn't
I
know
had
worse was to come at that point.
not to that point, no. Then I had the plumber come round the very same day. I got a plumber sent by the insurance, and they found the underground leak next to a tree inside the property. So, yeah, I mean, I understood at that stage that this was going to be for my account, and also that they hadn't done a meter reading for the July bill. So I knew that there was another huge bill coming down the pipe. And of
Excuse
course,
the
when
pun.
yes, excuse the pun. And when that came in, I was horrified again. It was 120,000 rand. So all in total, I have actually paid the COJ 153,000 rand, and that's because I cannot get my property transferred without settling the bill in total. I can't have a payment arrangement on it. So
And okay, so we're
yeah.
going to dive into this. I only realized today that you'd actually paid it because I was trying to get some kind of that discretionary reduction from the city, and we'll get to that. But you were, ironically, it was because you sold the house and you're getting the proceeds that you were able to find that money and unfortunately effectively reduce what you got as the proceeds of the sale of your house. But
No,
for many
that
people listening, it's not the case. They're not selling, and now where do they find the money?
yeah, no, I mean those proceeds have yet to come in. So I had to basically gouge out my savings in order to do this.
In the meantime.
And use my credit card as well. I mean, I don't know how people do it otherwise. Even for a payment arrangement, you still have to put down a third of the outstanding.
It's a lot. Okay.
In my case, it was 13,000 on the first bill. Yeah.
1,000. Sure. Okay, so that brings us nicely into the irony of the story in that you actually wrote a piece for the City of Joburg's own website about the fixes that have, in inverted commas, that have risen up to help people in this situation, very illegally, of course, who find themselves in this situation. They didn't know the leak was there. They now have to pay for it, huge numbers. Won't you tell us a little bit about what you said in that article, which at the time you wrote it, you had no idea that you were going to be sitting in this situation yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I put the whole sad story on I Love West Dean, the neighborhood group. And, within an hour, I had somebody WhatsApping me saying that if I paid him half of the outstanding bill, he would get the whole thing squashed. I subsequently realized, I've spoken to 3 of these fixers now, that is the modus operandi. So you pay into their account half of the outstanding, and then they do whatever they do inside of COJ. I mean, it can only be bribes. And that bill then gets squashed to next to nothing. And I must tell you, Wendy, it's very tempting to go that route when you're in this situation. Because the city just does not offer a reprieve.
And quite risky. So you're trusting this person that you're paying half the bill into their account. I mean, what's to stop someone that's the end of the story? I mean, surely there must be those who aren't actually fixers that are just capitalizing on people's desperation and not following through. I mean, did that come up in your research?
Yeah. In fact, as I kind of went into it, and I met one of these fixers at Cresta Shopping Center, just to hear, because I'm a journalist, just to hear what he had to say, and it got quite weird. I mean, he wanted less than half. I mean, we negotiated that. But then I said to him, how are you going to reduce this bill? And what if you can't do it? And he said, no. They're always very confident that they can do it. And in his case, he said that he would get the meter sort of wound back. Yeah, so it reads a much lesser reading. So I don't know who they're kind of bribing. I presume that they give people working for COJ, either in the water department or the credit department, some of the money that you've given them, and then they kind of split it between them. I think that's how it must work. But yeah, I mean, it's a massive risk, and I decided I'm not going to take it. Apart from which, it's illegal, it's criminal. So,
well, let's. Well done, you. I think before we get to the news break, let's share what the city of Joburg told me. I took up your case. I had established that they have this discretionary power to reduce bills on a case by case basis. So I put your whole story, including that you'd written the story about fixes and that you'd found out what that was about and decided not to go that route. So I got an answer the same day, Monday, and I thought, oh, this is good. I mean, they're normally good to respond, but in cases like this, a little bit of investigation needed. I don't normally get a same day, but it turned out to be a copy paste because it didn't even mention your case. It didn't mention the fixes. It just said, it was a press release basically saying the city encourages customers to monitor their water consumption and leaks and report leaks immediately. It talks about closing your taps and watching the meter for movement. Well, you had first of all, your bills were normal because it was estimates, and you had a tenant in there. I mean, your meter was racing, Helen. You sent me a video, but was that your tenant that shared that with you, or how did you see for yourself what your meter was doing, horrifyingly?
The meter is actually out on the pavement, so the tenant doesn't ordinarily check it. Yeah, it's not within the property; it's out on the pavement.
Oh, of course. So that's the other thing.
Yeah.
And you as the owner were checking it because you weren't living there.
Yeah, exactly. I was just getting on with my life.
Your life thinking, yeah, gosh. Okay, so and then it says more advice from the city. Compare your readings month to month. Check whether the account is based on an actual reading or an estimate. It gives lists 7 regional customer service centers, and then says where an internal leak has resulted in a high account, the customer cannot settle customer cannot settle immediately. They should visit the nearest service center. And depending on circumstances and an affordability assessment, may be assisted through an acknowledgement of debt payment arrangement or guided to apply for the city's debt relief program. So as I say, it was very unsatisfying in that it didn't address your specific case that I had shared in detail. You had done those things. You were sitting with an estimated bill, which didn't highlight the fact that you were losing an insane amount of water, which we were going to be billed for. And so it was very unsatisfying. What do you make of it? I've said what I feel. What do you make of it, Helen? And what was share with us, as you did with me off air a short while ago, what your main gripe was? Not so much the figures, because that was a genuine leak on your side of the property that you were responsible for. But where does your dissatisfaction or annoyance, frustration lie?
It's basically that people who are in this position who can't possibly know what's happening underground, because in my case there was just no evidence above ground. It must have been an Olympic-sized pool full of water gone down to the water table. But it just seems really unfair that the city offers no reprieve in cases like this. And even though in the bylaws, as you pointed out earlier, they actually can. But I went into the call centers, all 3 of them, and you just get turned away at the front line desk. There's no solution. You have to pay it. End of story. And lots of people would just not be able to pay even the third amount on the payment arrangement.
So what I'm going to do,
horrific situation.
Ladies, I'm going to ask you to hold your thoughts as we head off to the news, because I think it is going to be such a key takeout for so many of residents of the city, especially with their water issues. Realistically, if there's a leak happening underground, I mean, honestly, what must a person do? It is 2:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. The Madlanga Commission has heard that IDAC does not have clearly defined consequences for officials who fail to follow due process. The unit's head of investigations and operations, Matthew Sissoko, testified before the Commission today. Much of his evidence focused on how IDAC decides which cases to investigate and which to decline. The bail application of a Soweto man accused of being part of an international online sextortion and money laundering syndicate has been postponed to September. Ifeel Simango abandoned his bid for bail in the Protea Magistrates Court after the state added 3 more charges against him. He was arrested last month following a probe into what investigators describe as a sophisticated international online extortion syndicate. And the Department of Employment and Labour has moved to regulate the employment of foreign nationals. Presenting the bill to Parliament's Portfolio Committee, Minister Nomakosazana Meth said the bill is in fulfilment of the National Labour Migration Policy. Government has recently faced pressure from anti-immigration groups to clamp down on businesses that employ undocumented migrants. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at the moment, if you're leaving the Pretoria CBD, slow-moving traffic, this is in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between WF Nkomo and the R80, while in Germiston, we still have those roadworks slowing down traffic heading towards Brakpan. That's on the N17 eastbound between Wits Rifles and Osborne Road. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenville at Morafontein Road and Van Riebeek. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Take control of your equipment, your billing, and your revenue with PumaTech. Built for all sized businesses in rental, construction, scaffolding, plant hire, and mining. PumaTech gives you real-time, on-site visibility of everything. Your equipment, your materials, across sites, yards, and branches. Simplify stock control, reduce losses, and manage your billing. All in one powerful, locally built platform. PumaTech. Know where everything is.
So the other day I get this call from an insurance company. They asked if they could quote me. I said, quote me? I can't remember what I said. But if you're still thinking about it, it must have been pretty good. Mom always said I have a way with words. They just put down the phone. I don't get it.
Don't get that insurance. Get Pineapple. It's easy to get and online. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. T's and C's apply.
What's for dinner tonight, South Africa? Hiya, Jamie Oliver here. Dinner stress? Forget it. I've teamed up with Checkers to bring you some of my favourite recipes the whole family will love. Like my chili con carne meatballs. Proper comfort food from me and Checkers. Easy peasy and delicious. Shop the ingredients on Checkers 6060 and boom, delivered in 60 minutes. Every week, 5 brand new dinner ideas. Checkers, dinner done better.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Coming up
on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman. Happy Thursday, John. What's coming up on your show today?
So quite a bit happening in Relebogile, and a very good afternoon to all of you. The second interim report from the Madlanga Commission has been released. Lots of really important findings, some recommendations as well. More details on that after 5 o'clock. The Department of International Relations and Cooperation is revising its protocols for the travel of former presidents. This in the life of in light of former President Jacob Zuma meeting with one of the Gupta brothers on a trip to India, Kingsley Makubela, who always has fabulous insights into diplomatic matters, will join us after 4 o'clock. We're going to be keeping a close eye on the courts, where it looks like, at least for the moment, Julius Mkhwanazi and 4 others are not going to be getting bail. They're charged with murder and conspiracy defeating the ends of justice. That's what I meant to say. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then down in Parliament, Department of Employment is tabling new legislation around the employment of foreigners in South Africa. So we'll get some more info on that as well. Lots more besides, but those are the highlights.
702 Drive with John Perlman coming up from 3 to 6 p.m.
702.
Nola knows.
All right, we pick up in our consumer rights feature, Nola Knows. We've been dealing with a specific case of Helen Grange, who is editor and writer for Good Governance Africa, but also happens to be the subject of this case where there was a leak and she was presented with a 120,000 Rand bill from the city. And we have been discussing what the statistics look like and what kind of cases Johannesburg Water specifically is dealing with burst pipes and things like that. And of course, the lost water becomes a problem, especially if now you are the home owner. So Wendy, just in terms of picking up with where we are now in the conversation with Helen.
Yeah. What we've learned, so all told, because when she first found out, she paid something like 45,000 Rand, and then there was then she made a payment arrangement, and then in total she decided the sale of her home has to go through, the property has to be transferred to the new owner. That was not going to happen, even if she had a payment plan. It has to be paid. So hence, she's paid in total for this water leak episode 153,000 Rand. She scraped it together because she hasn't got the money from the sale of the house yet. And obviously that will reimburse her, but it means she's lost 153,000 Rand of the proceeds of her house. Interestingly, Helen shared her bills with me. And when you go through that, you see something that is very interesting in light of what the city said, and that is to monitor your bills, right? Because the city did not read Helen's meter between early April and early June. So that's 56 days. It then took another 41 days to send her the bill, because that's the way it works, which was dated the 14th of July. So, and Helen, tell me if I'm wrong, but from her last meter reading to the day she found out was 97 days. And so she couldn't compare readings that she had never been given. I suppose the answer to that would be, well, if you, given the situation with Joburg and other metros with, water systems that are old and troubled, that you should read your own meter. And that is very, very good advice out of this, is to keep track of your own meter. But in a case where you have a tenant in, it's not as easy. You're not actually living there. So perhaps the advice would be to require your tenants to do that for you, because you have a situation, it's a perfect storm. You're responsible for water leaks on your property, but the city is not necessarily reflecting that in their billing, because they're not reading every month, and so they're working on estimates. So you think everything's fine, but actually that water meter is running like a hamster on a wheel, and you're paying, you basically filling a swimming pool day and night for weeks or even months. It's horrific. I mean, the waste of the water is another thing. You're having to pay for it, but it's a complete waste. Helen, if you're still with us, have I summed it up more or less accurately?
Yes, absolutely. And it is, I think, important. In retrospect, that's what I should have done, is ask the tenant to please check the meter once a month. I mean, it's a bit of an imposition on a guy who's out of there by 8 o'clock in the morning and only back after 6. But I think it does need to be written into leases, perhaps. Even though the onus is still on the city to actually do the meter readings once a month, I should imagine.
Absolutely, all of them, but not. I don't think certainly Durban's not either. So it does, and that's certainly. I would then argue they should, in light of the fact that they aren't reading the meters monthly, which they are required to do, that they should be open to a discretionary discount on these massive bills. In cases like yours, where it's tenanted, your bills were normal. I think it's a really unfair burden for homeowners in your case to have to bear. But it is what it is. So essentially, this is a warning to others to keep on top of those meter readings. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because the chances of an underground leak are not as remote as you might assume.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just be aware of what's going on with that meter. Yeah, I mean, it's really unpleasant to be the guinea pig in this case. Let me tell you, it's a lot of money.
I'm sure. I mean, you keep thinking, I'm sure, of what else you could have done with that money, but that's just torture. We just have to sort of write it off and move on. But thank you for sharing your case, because I'm pretty sure that, we know from those Facebook groups that there are many, many others in this situation. So just to read the meters or get your tenant to do it and just be on top of that, so that you don't get settled in your situation of 150 whatever thousand. And also you paid, I don't know if you've worked this out, Helen, you paid more than 16,000 on VAT on that water that went just wherever it went, but not into your pipes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, which makes more of a case for them exercising some sort of discretion, to offer a discount. Yeah.
I think I'll go back to the COJ and ask them some follow-up questions, and we can share them. I'll certainly share them with you, on these issues of, no monthly bill reading, but no discretion either when you're sending a perfectly normal bill to the ratepayer, but actually it's not reflecting the fact that the meter's running wild, out of control due to a burst pipe that they know nothing of. So I think this can be a little bit of a to be continued.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much, Helen, for sharing that amount of money. Wendy, what are the key takeouts from all of this?
Okay, so the first one that I keep banging on is whether you're living in the houses that you own as an occupant or whether you have a tenant in there, is to normalize reading the meter yourself every month. I would certainly be a bit paranoid and read it on a weekly basis, because you can lose a lot of money in the course of a month. If you pass pipe bursts, you have no indication of it. There's no visible sign. So I would do that. This certainly made me very happy to be paying for prepaid water, I must say, the story. The other thing, incidentally, is that I know from my own experience with this, is that the eThekwini is the only metro in the country that has ever built water loss insurance into the billing system. So it's changed slightly now in the process of changing, but Durban ratepayers could opt into a third-party leak insurance policy, and it was very little on your bill, like 30 Rand or something. And if this happened, you could put a claim in. There were limitations, but it would certainly prevent you from having a bill as sky high as Helen's. And in March this year, the city proposed replacing that opt-in scheme, because it was voluntary, with a fixed monthly water loss levy on all domestic uses, and the fund running internally, not too sure about that, to write off leak-inflated bills. That debate is still ongoing, but isn't it interesting that this is for years, I mean decades, that Durban's had that cover, but none of the other metros sell it or bill it or anything like that. It just doesn't exist, so you're on your own. And yeah, about that parallel economy of fixers who will make your bill go away for cash. they exist because the legitimate route doesn't work, or it's very expensive, as we've seen now in Helen's case. I'm not for one split second saying you should go that route. Just to explain why it exists, because I would also say that I mean, you could pay your money, even though it's dodgy in the beginning, but you could pay your money in desperation to the person, and they've got no contacts and no intention of fixing anything. They just go away with your money. So, yeah, the only advice: read your water meter constantly, photograph it with the date visible. If your bill says estimated water consumption, well, then that very big reason to go out there and start reading it yourself. And I would say Helen's advice is on the money. If you're a landlord, put it in the lease. And I would say it's not unreasonable within the context that we're talking about here, and what it can cost an owner if it isn't monitored. And even if it's just once a month, let them just do it. It's not a huge ask. They can do it on the weekend when they aren't working. And yeah, I mean, you could, if you need some help, if the city's not entertaining you, as they most likely won't, try your ward councillor. And go on to groups. There are many groups in the Joburg area, Facebook groups, where people who are in the same situation are sharing their experiences and the like. But yeah, I think just to be aware and watch that meter like a hawk.
All right, we've got 10 million voice notes on this issue.
I'm sure.
So let's see how many
sure.
we can get through. We'll do maybe like 3-4 back to back at a time.
Relebogile and Wendy, wouldn't it be nice if the council was managed properly, that the meter readings were taken every month? Then you would catch, the bill and know that you had a water leak instead of it running up over months of an estimate.
Hello, Relebogile and Wendy. I'm listening to this matter of the pipes that are leaking underground. And, I just don't understand why it is that we are held liable for that. I mean, it's not like you can see that there's a leak above the ground. It's not like you've caused it. So we are ratepayers, we are taxpayers. Surely that should be part of the infrastructure that the government takes care of. I don't think it's okay to be billed for that.
If it's running that fast, you should be able to hear it in the pipes and the wall. At night, when you go to sleep, you'll hear a rushing sort of sound like water's running. That's how I discovered mine was leaking.
Wendy, my question with this water bill thing is that what is the city's obligation to actually take per meter readings and not just do 3 or 4 months worth of estimates? Surely they've got an obligation to read the meter on a regular basis, and that would have highlighted this issue a lot sooner. Cheers, Warren.
Oh, Wendy, the first batch.
Yeah, well, they're all saying what we've just been discussing, and that's true. So the first one, you can't see it. You don't know. There's no visible sign, so it's not fair for us to be held liable. Well, it's unfortunate. That's the way it's in all the municipalities. That's the way it is. The pipes are on your property. You own the property, and therefore you're liable. I mean, there's a debate to say, well, so we may, as ratepayers, as homeowners, then have to pick up the tab for the city's failure to maintain the pipes, and that's the reality. That's a whole nother section of the argument. In terms of, thank you very much to the listener who said you will, in the dead of night, you will hear a rushing sound. So that's, if you hear that, that be on high alert and investigate further, because it's probably hemorrhaging water underground. And about the city's obligations, well, yes, it isn't a bylaw. I had reason to investigate this with another municipality. The reality is, and look, they had during COVID, there were obviously problems in fulfilling that mandate, and then that sort of seemed to just carry on. So there can be 3 months. Well, during COVID, I know that my bill wasn't read for 6 months. And that created all sorts of financial problems for me. But Yeah, they should be reading it monthly. If they're not, they've only read it in the third month or the fourth month, and then just only then told you about the massive water loss, it doesn't follow to me that they should then charge you in full if that leak is on your side of the property. It doesn't. It's not going to tick anybody's fairness box. So I will pursue that some more. I'm not expecting to get any joy out of that line of questioning, but I think it's our job is to expose these things as the media and get people and turn them over and look at them from all sides and try and come up with some advice. And the only thing I can come up with is you've got to be in control of your own meter. Make it your priority to check that it's not running out of control and indicating that you have a massive you have a burst or a leaking pipe. Yeah, that's unfortunately as much as I can say right now.
More of your voice notes on 072 702 1702. We will still have time to address your non-water leak issues, so get them through as well.
Good afternoon, Relebogile. I just want to let you know that this happened to me too, or us, and luckily we weren't selling the house, and we got a bill of 10,000 rand, and it wasn't the last leak. Another one happened, which luckily our gardener noticed quickly and in time. And then we realized that it was time to get all our cold water pipes replaced, because the old type of piping at this time, after 40 years, really just don't last anymore. So then they changed it over to what they called polycop or something like that, which is a long-lasting type of pipe that wouldn't go rusty and leak. Thanks for a lovely show. Bye.
Hi, Wendy. Hi, Lebo. Just a matter of interest. I stay in Ekurhuleni, and in 2023, I got very sick and didn't notice the water bill, and our water bill went up to 23,000 rand, 16,000 liters in a month. I went to Ekurhuleni and I said to them, something is wrong here. By that time, I was recovered, luckily. The lady that works here then said to me, get a plumber out to come and check. Got the plumber out, he did a report, he did the repair, everything else. I took the report back to Ekurhuleni, and they actually ended up giving us, I think it was like a 6,000 rand discount on the total bill, which to me was totally amazing. But yeah, that's Ekurhuleni, not City of Joburg.
Hey, Relebogile, this is Simon Virgin Faden Park. Many years ago, I lived in Cresta. We had the same problem as Helen. And after, going back and forth with the City of Joburg not wanting to, do anything, they pushed us into a corner to pay 100,000 rand, which was the bill. And then while they investigate. So we did that. And then after they proved that, there was a water leak, they said to us, okay, instead of giving us money, they gave us credit, meaning that, for the next 10 months, we're not going to be paying. They'll just deduct it off. But check, I was selling our house. So nothing, it just happened like that. So the benefit was for the person that remained in the house.
And another one says the City of Tshwane allows residents to capture every month our own water reading, Viz Tshwane. Wendy, the one about will give you credit and then the new owner benefits. I'm so sorry.
I don't think the new owner would have, actually, because it's a completely separate account. They would close the account off and then start a new one for the new owner. So I just think
so no one benefits.
It's not transferable. I don't think so, except the city. Although the water was lost. So, and just I was saying, they're not looking after their own infrastructure. Of course, the first caller in this new batch said, talking about getting her pipes replaced. Of course, that's the issue, because the pipes are your responsibility along with the other infrastructure within the boundary of your own home. So from the meter into your property, everything up to the meter is for the municipalities to take responsibility for, and the rest for you. So it might be an idea in terms of maintenance for you to get a plumber in and just check. Well, certainly I would say, you could do it, what's the word, proactively before anything happens, to have a look. But few people do that with so many things to pay for. But that would certainly, prevent it, is to replace it all. What the cost of that would be, I don't know. And half your place being dug up and etc. It's a huge thing. But yeah, those pipes are yours and your responsibility.
All right. Here are some voice notes coming through on 072 702 1702.
Hi, good afternoon. It's Robbie speaking. Yes, there is an easy kind of way to do it, and that is, if there's not taps open inside the house, just have a look at your meter. You don't even have to read it. If it's turning and there's not taps open inside the house, means that you got a leak. That will kind of warn you that you need to take care of it. Had a problem like that before. I called the specialized plumbers in. They came with sonar. They actually put gas in the pipe and they walk around your house and they actually pick up the leak straight away in exactly the same position that they tell you to. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
so
Bobby.
much. Another person says, the way I see it, why would the municipality help or warn you? They are, the message disappeared. Why would the municipality help or warn you? They are there only to make money out of you. I mean, good point. They don't really have the incentive. And then another one says, hi, Relebogile and Wendy, meter readers are known to Gippo readings. That's Hasmook in Mondio. And then I think I've gone through all of them. I mean, Wendy, I think the reality is that we need to take ownership. As you said, homeowners, make sure your tenants take pictures monthly. Make sure you follow up. Make sure you know who your ward councillor is. Make sure you know exactly. Have a contact person. Have a brilliant plumber that can come in and check your water usage regularly, because finding yourself with a 120K bill is absolutely crazy. But we'll be back together with Wendy next week.
We live in a world where women can take up space, where women are free to dream about becoming. And it all started with generations of women who would not cease until women were liberated and seen as equals. This Women's Month, we remember the women of 1956 who marched to the Union buildings. These are the Mbokodos who walked so that today's woman could run, jump, or soar into her greatness.
Your voice is important.
This Women's Month, 702 remembers these women for their fighting spirit, their tenacity, their unwavering voice. Thank you for walking the talk.
This Women's Month, here's to the woman who keeps families connected. The homework, the side hustle, the family group chat, all of it runs through her. She deserves better than a hotspot. Net99 brings real fiber into the Kasi, uncapped from 379 Rand. Mahala installation, no contract, one connection for the whole family. Just top up and go like airtime. Real Kasi Wi-Fi. Check your coverage at net99.co.za. And it's the words net99, not the numbers, or WhatsApp 0872450099.
Uncertainty is rising, but your business still has to deliver. Production targets need to be met. And when your workforce is out of balance, the cost is immediate. Too many employees, costs climb. Too few, productivity drops. Workforce staffing helps businesses stay in control with flexible workforce solutions, deployed within 48 hours nationwide. When demand changes, your workforce can change with it. Visit workforcestaffing.co.za. Stay productive, stay flexible, stay in control.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports, no more disconnected systems, no more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. ISTRATGO.com.
Aquele.
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 Aquela.
Aquele.
Aquili.
Aquele.
No matter how you say it, one thing's for sure.
Aquele is South Africa's most loved water brand, refreshing you with pure natural spring water and delicious flavored sparkling drinks. From every sip to every smile, thank you Mzansi for making Aquele a part of your everyday moments. Aquele, spreading joy to South Africa naturally.
Thank you so much for joining us on 702 Afternoons. We are back tomorrow. Good Friday. Make sure you tune in. It's 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Julius Mkwanazi stays behind bars until next week. And does IDEC know what to do with its own rule breakers? Good afternoon. I'm Bali Dlamini. Suspended Deputy EM